It's a wonderful evening, and the night is long. I want to tell you the story of my ancestor, Hercules.
Go ahead, we're all listening. I'm very curious. I've never heard the story of Hercules.
Long ago in ancient times, the gods were the masters of the universe. Sometimes they were kind, and sometimes they were not. And they were always unpredictable. The gods had their homes in magnificent palaces on Mount Olympus. The top of this mountain was always hidden from the eyes of people on Earth by dense clouds. Often when the gods were angry, the clouds turned black and were pierced by bolts of lightning and racked by rolls of thunder. Behind the clouds were the homes of the gods, their magnificent palaces surrounded by splendid gardens in which the wind never dared to blow. The air was eternally filled with the scent of spring flowers, the sound of music, of children playing, and the sky was always blue. Surrounded by the palaces of the other gods was the sumptuous golden residence of Zeus and his wife Hera. Every day the gods who lived on Mount Olympus left their own magnificent palaces and gathered in Zeus's splendid throne room. The council of the celestial gods governed the world from up there, sitting in state in all their splendor. But we'll have plenty of time to get to know them in the course of our story. Right now, the only ones it's important to meet are the all-powerful couple, Zeus and his beautiful and beloved queen, Hera. Zeus was the most powerful of all the gods, and even though he gave his brother Neptune control of the seas and his brother Pluto control of the netherworld, he always had the last word, unless the supremely mysterious power of fate intervened. But Zeus tried never to take advantage of his enormous power, and that is why his aunt Themis, goddess of justice, always sat on the steps of the throne. Zeus had only one weakness. He loved beautiful women and never resisted the temptation to consummate his love. His wife Hera, goddess of fertility and marriage, was understandably jealous. She banished the poor girls who succumbed to Zeus's advances and then vented her rage on her husband. Their arguments were the order of the day, but Zeus never let it worry him too much. Meanwhile, in the world of ordinary mortals,
tomorrow morning, when we enter the city of Thebes, the people will greet us as conquerors.
Yes, there will be wine, women, and song, and days of celebration.
After months of fighting, I will finally be reunited with my gentle bride, the sweet Alcmene.
Purchase my silks, fair lady. Guarantee they're none finer in all the world.
When I give the signal, I want you to set immediately. And you are not to rise again for 3 days. Go now.
Oh, Amphitryon, you've come back to me at last.
I have kept my promise. I have defeated the Taphians. At last I have avenged the death of your brothers.
Oh, my hero.
At last I can dedicate my time to my beautiful bride.
Welcome back.
May the gods be praised.
What's going on? Why is there nobody here to greet me? It's impossible they didn't know I'd be back today. I'm back, my beautiful bride.
I know, my love. I thank all the gods for that.
Huh? I kept my promise. My soldiers sacked the island of Taphos. I defeated the Pterolaus, and I have gained possession of all their...
I know, my love. I know all the details of your exploits already, my hero. You must be as tired as I am. Now lie down here at my side and rest.
Go find Tiresias, the soothsayer, and bring him here at once.
Welcome back, Amphitryon. I've been told that victory smiles upon you.
But my return has been greeted with indifference by everybody, including my wife. Alcmene tells me that she is already aware of my exploits, even though I have told her nothing about them.
You have been struck by inglorious misfortune, O noble and courageous Amphitryon, descendant of Perseus. While you were away, Zeus, struck by your wife's beauty, disguised himself as you and returned home in your place.
You interfered with Alcmene's destiny. Why couldn't you leave her to her own fate?
Why are you getting so upset? She's only a mortal after all. Or are you jealous because she's so beautiful?
Of course not. I mean, look at me. I'm much more beautiful than any mortal.
Besides, fate has already decided that the next descendant of Perseus will rule over Argos.
That's what you think. Now I know exactly what I have to do to change the child's destiny.
Her anger aroused, Hera asked her daughter, Eileithyia, the birth goddess, to bring into the world first Eurystheus, son of another descendant of Perseus, and then, a little later, the son of Alcmene. Eurystheus became king of Argos, and Alcmene gave birth to twins, Hercules, son of Zeus, and Iphicles, son of Amphitryon.
My wife, by delaying his birth, made sure Hercules would not be king of Argos. And so now I will make him a demigod. Mercury! Mercury!
Mercury was a man worth knowing. Son of Zeus and one of the Pleiades, he was a clever ambassador of the gods with considerable freedom to handle things his way. He was the god of travel and trade. Intelligent and good-natured, he was also, thanks to a certain lack of scruples, the protector of thieves and tricksters. As Hera, enraged, snatched Hercules away from her breast, the goddess's milk spilled across the sky to form the Milky Way. But Zeus's trickery worked. Hercules had received a few drops of milk from Hera, enough to turn him into a demigod. Mercury took him back to his mother, and for several months Hera seemed to swallow her rancor. But one night... And that was how Amphitryon found out for sure that Hercules was Zeus's son. Several years pass. Hercules and Iphicles become young men, both raised as princes by Amphitryon. To begin with, he was afraid of Zeus's anger, but as time passed, he became sincerely attached to his strong, clever foster son.
You fight with him, Autolysis. Since you're both sons of gods, you can test your strength against each other. As for me, I've had enough for one day. When I fight with my brother, I always get hurt.
Iphicles is strong and brave, Amphitryon. But he has no chance against Hercules. There's only one solution. We must find worthy adversaries for both boys. Let's see if the boy's a match for Mercury's son.
Ah, yes. Amphitryon had the boys taught by the best teachers. Autolycus, the wrestling master, really was the son of Mercury. His best quality was not his excellent fighting ability, but his craftiness inherited from his father. Rhadamanthus, the law teacher, was another son of Zeus. He was so wise and so fair that when he died, he was sent to Hades to judge the dead. The swordmaster was Castor, yet another of Zeus's sons, this time by Leda, the wife of King Tyndareus. She gave birth to 4 children, twins by Tyndareus, and Castor and Pollux, the heavenly twins, who were responsible for many heroic exploits. Eumolpus, the singing teacher, was the son of Neptune, the god of the sea.
Ba 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 ba
Ba ba ba ba ba ba ba.
Eurytus, the archery teacher, was the son of the greatest archer in all Greece and inherited his father's skill. Or perhaps he got it directly from his grandfather, Apollo. His bow was so special that years later, his son gave it to Ulysses. Chiron, the son of Saturn, was immortal and the most famous centaur in the ancient world. Because of his great wisdom and knowledge, he was much sought after as a teacher, and he instructed Hercules and Iphicles in the arts of medicine and astronomy. Linos, the music teacher, is said to be the first to use gut strings for the lyre. Linos was very proud of Iphicles, who had a great talent for music, and he was very irritated by Hercules, who showed no ability at all.
Stop that! The sounds you make with that unfortunate lyre would offend a deaf man!
Leave me alone, you stupid musician! I have no wish to play the lyre. I'm 1,000 times more interested in fighting 100 bulls!
Hercules! Oh!
Creon, king of Thebes, exiled Hercules for a while to punish him for attacking Linos and to teach him to control his temper and his strength. Hercules was sent to watch over oxen and sheep on Mount Citeriones. Life in the open air made him stronger and more agile than ever, but it certainly didn't teach him to live with people. Apart from the occasional visitor, the only people Hercules saw were the family of a cowherder called Tutaros, with whom he practiced archery and wrestling.
Hercules! Hercules, a ferocious lion that no one has the courage to hunt down and kill. He's decimating our herds and those of King Thespis.
Do not fear. I will leave tomorrow at dawn. I will go to the court of King Thespis and hunt down the lion. I am Hercules, sire, and I have come to kill the lion that is destroying your herds.
I am delighted to welcome you to my domain, Hercules. Your presence honors us. May the gods look favorably upon your endeavor.
Hercules spent almost 50 days at the court of King Thespis. Every day when he returned from the hunt, he was greeted by the king's 50 daughters. But there was no trace of the lion until one day. Hercules killed the fearsome lion with his bare hands, and news of his exploit passed by word of mouth to even the most remote regions. And so the reputation of Hercules, the demigod, was born. It was time for my ancestor to return to his family in Thebes. On the way, he ran into envoys of the king of Orchomenos, traveling to Thebes to exact a large sum in taxes from King Creon. Hercules sent them packing. He assumed command of the Theban army and defeated the king of Orchomenos once and for all. To show his gratitude, King Creon gave Hercules the hand of his daughter, Megara, in marriage. The wedding was celebrated with great pomp and ceremony. The people applauded, and the gods and goddesses were pleased with the union. They showered the couple with gifts, all except for Hera. Some years later, Hercules and Megara were enjoying their marriage and their children, when finally Hera sent her gift. Alecto, one of the three Furies, who had such a devastating effect on Hercules' mind that he murdered his wife and family. To have him make amends for his foul deed, the gods banished Hercules from Thebes, ordering him to serve his cousin, Eurystheus, king of Argos. Eurystheus was not at all generous with Hercules. In fact, he was afraid of him and tried in every way possible to get rid of him by having him carry out the famous 12 labors. I'll bet you're all tired, huh? You want me to stop?
No, please, go on. It's very interesting.
To begin with, Eurystheus sent Hercules out to slay the Nemean lion, a terrifying beast of divine origins with a coat so thick it made it invincible. The lion he killed years before was just a kitten by comparison. Hercules confronted the beast armed with only a club and tore it apart with his bare hands. Unaware of its value, Eurystheus gave the lion's skin to Hercules, who wore it and so became almost invulnerable himself. Then Eurystheus ordered Hercules to enter the swamps of Lernia and kill the Hydra, a monster even more terrifying than the lion. The Hydra was a fearsome dragon with 9 heads, 9 starving mouths, and 18 fiery eyes. Hercules arrived at the swamp on a cart driven by his nephew, Iphicles' son Iolaus. He fired hundreds of arrows to force the Hydra out of its den. Once the monster was in the open, Hercules confronted it with his sword, and using all his strength, he succeeded in cutting off 2 or 3 of the heads. Unfortunately for Hercules, the blood from the fallen heads spawned 2 more, and the fight became more and more difficult and dangerous.
Start a fire, and as the new heads grow, help me to burn them with red-hot firebrands.
And so, thanks to his nephew's help, Hercules was able to defeat the Hydra, and the victory made him even more invincible. Before he left the swamp, he dipped the tip of his sword in the monster's poisonous blood. Hercules returned in triumph to his cousin's domain, but Eurystheus told him his achievement didn't count because he'd been helped by Iolaus, and he ordered Hercules to leave immediately on another impossible assignment. But I'll tell you about that and the other 10 labors tomorrow. Now it's time for all of us to go to bed. When Hercules returned to his cousin's domain, the king sent him off on another impossible mission, but I'll tell you all about that tomorrow. Now it's time for all of us to go to bed. And so...
Tell us about this other adventure, Hercules. Come on. You can't be that tired. Don't stop now, Hercules. Come on.
Oh, no. I don't feel like going to bed. Come on, Hercules. Don't stop now.
He's right. There is nothing more enjoyable than staying up late telling stories around the fire.
All right. I give up. It's not time to go to bed after all. And so, Eurystheus ordered Hercules to leave immediately on another impossible assignment. This time, Hercules was sent to capture an enormous wild beast that terrorized the entire region of Arcadia, killing men and animals and laying waste field after field. Eurystheus was sure Hercules would not come back alive. It took Hercules a long time to reach Arcadia, and he had to face all kinds of hardships along the way. Finally, he got to the region where the giant boar lived, traveling it far and wide. In vain. The monster was nowhere to be found.
These are wild boar tracks. I've found my prey at last. Luck must be on my side. The snow is so deep, it's slowing the boar down.
What's the big hurry?
Your Highness, Hercules has just entered the city. And he's carrying an enormous wild boar on his shoulders.
Hercules has returned again alive? You say he's just entered the city, and he's coming here with Eurymanthus, the wild boar?
Yes, Your Highness.
Help! Help! Somebody help me! Oh. Tell Hercules I'm not here. Call out the royal guards to stop him. They mustn't let him or the wild boar in the royal palace. Tell Hercules he's to wait for new orders from me.
Convinced that Hercules would not be able to bring any more monstrous beasts to the royal palace, Eurystheus gave his cousin another impossible task, sending him out to capture the Ceryneian hind. The legendary hind had golden horns and bronze feet, and 4 sisters that, like her, were consecrated to Diana, the goddess of the hunt. Obeying a strict order by the goddess Hera, Diana freed the 5th hind so that it could be used for one of Hercules' labors. Killing it or even touching it was considered an act of sacrilege. Capturing the hind was considered an impossible task because there was no god, man, or animal that could match its astonishing speed and endurance.
I'm exhausted. I've been chasing the hind for a year. I wonder if I will ever catch it. I accept that I must serve my foolish cousin by carrying out 10 labors for him. But I begin to think my punishment is far more severe than the monstrous crime that I was made to commit by the fury sent to me by Hera. It's been struggling and kicking for hours now. Let's hope it tires itself out before I do.
Suddenly, Zeus's twins, Apollo and Diana, appear in front of Hercules. They stand there blocking his way. Hercules is especially in dread of Diana because of her cruel, vindictive reputation.
Hercules, how dared you capture the golden hind of Cyrenea? You know perfectly well that it's sacred and that nobody's even allowed to touch it.
And you actually tried to kill it, Hercules.
That's not true. You must believe me. I never tried to kill it. I haven't even scratched it. What's more, you both know as well as I do, I had no choice in the matter. I was forced to capture it. And you, Apollo and Diana, you more than anybody else should understand my position and forgive me. It was the oracle at Delphi who is devoted to you who told me that to expiate my guilt, I was to place myself at Eurystheus' disposal, to carry out his orders for 10 years. Eurystheus was the one who ordered me to capture your hind, Diana, so if I have enraged you, if I have committed sacrilege by capturing the hind, it is not me, but Eurystheus who is to blame. I can only repeat that it was he who ordered me to capture the hind, and it was the all-powerful gods of Olympus who ordered me to obey him.
We cannot deny that Hercules is acting in good faith. What do you propose we do, Diana?
Very well. You may bring the hind with you to Eurystheus' palace. But then you will immediately set it free as soon as he sees you've carried out his order.
Report every word we have told you to King Eurystheus, Hercules, and make him understand our anger will know no bounds if he goes against our celestial will.
Once again, Eurystheus avoided Hercules when he returned to the city, refusing him entrance to the palace. And so, he was unable to tell the king personally about his encounter with Apollo and Diana. Even so, the hind was set free. And Eurystheus gave Hercules another assignment, ordering him to leave immediately without even a day's rest. This time, Eurystheus sent Hercules to the Stymphalian marshes to kill some birds that lived there. That may not sound very difficult, but believe me, it was another impossible task. Hercules waited 3 days in vain for the Stymphalian birds to reappear so that he could fire his poisoned arrows at them. Then, the goddess Minerva saw his plight and decided to give him a hand.
I have come to help you defeat the man-eating birds, Hercules. Blow this horn, the noise will alarm the birds, and make them appear.
Thank you, Minerva. goddess of wisdom.
Hercules successfully completed another impossible task. But Eurystheus had many more tasks waiting for him. I'll tell you about another one tomorrow evening. Now it's time to go to bed, my friends.
Sent for me, Eurystheus?
Yes, I did. I have to tell you about your next task. Let me see. I order you to go and clean out the stables of King Argus of Elis.
But his stables are huge. They'll be full of dung. They haven't been cleaned out for years. Besides, cousin Eurystheus, I'm used to capturing wild animals, killing monsters, feats of strength. I don't consider this a task for a hero.
I see. Well, on the contrary, I think it's the ideal task for you, and my opinion is the one that counts around here. I know the stables are dirty, even though the kettle's divine origins protect them from infection. You have only one day to clean them.
Ancestor went to King Argus' palace and made him a proposition. He offered to clean out the stables in only one day if the king would agree to give him a 10th part of the cattle in them.
In only one day?
Yes, sire.
Very well. If, when the sun sets this evening, my stables are clean, I'll give you 1/10 of my cattle. It cost me nothing to agree to his deal. He might be able to clean out my stables in 1 year, but never by sunset this evening. Just what makes you think I should give you part of my cattle? Everybody knows the real cleaning work was done by the river Alpheus. And everyone knows the river's mine because it runs through my kingdom.
Of course it's yours, Your Highness.
You hear that, Hercules? What's more, you were obliged to carry out the task because Eurystheus ordered you to do it.
This last labor doesn't count.
What do you mean it doesn't count?
Because you tried to take advantage of the task for your own ends, huh?
But you know as well as I do I didn't get anything out of it.
I know, but it wasn't for lack of trying, was it?
That was the second time Eurystheus refused to give Hercules credit for carrying out one of his tasks. At this point, the labors he had to undertake to make amends for his crime were 12 instead of the original 10. Ignoring Hercules' anger, Eurystheus gave him another assignment.
Let's see. Let me see. Ah, yes. When Neptune sent Minos, king of Crete, a magnificent black bull to sacrifice to him, Minos sacrificed a scrawny bull in its place. To punish Minos for this insult, Neptune infused the black bull with a crazy streak that has transformed it into a serious menace for all the inhabitants of the island. Now, what I want you to do is this. Go bring that bull back to me.
Look out! Look out!
I'll give it to you as a present if you like.
Now, off you go. You're free, and try and stay out of trouble. What's my next task?
You will go to Thrace, capture the mares of King Diomedes, and bring them back to me.
I'll bet you're thinking that catching a few horses was a pretty easy task for a hero like my ancestor. But King Diomedes' mares were very special animals, as cruel as their master. The king kept them penned up and was said to feed them on the bodies of shipwrecked sailors who managed to swim ashore after their ships were sunk in terrible storms off the coast of Thrace.
Huh?
Don't let that man get away! Capture him and feed him to the mare! Excellent, excellent! My men have tamed Hercules! Hercules will be alive! Guard!
Here are your mares, Eurystheus. I captured them for you and brought them back as you ordered.
That's not what I was expecting at all, Hercules. They're so ordinary looking. I was expecting you to bring me back the most beautiful animals in the world. The giant Gerion has the most wonderful oxen with scarlet coats. I order you to steal them and bring them to me.
And so Hercules set out again. This time his destination was the most western corner of the world. On the banks of the great ocean river, he arrived at the straits that divide Europe from Africa, where the extremities of the two continents face each other. Beyond the straits lay a boundless expanse of water, with strong winds whipping the crests of the waves. On the other side, Hercules built a second column. And ever since then, that place has been known as the Pillars of Hercules. And for centuries, it represented the border between the known and the unknown.
Blow out that light! It's dazzling me!
Hey, stop shooting at me! You're Hercules, aren't you? I've always admired your audacity. And now, since you stopped shooting your arrows when I asked you to, I would like to repay you for your courtesy. So, I'm going to lend you my golden boat to take you on the next leg of your travels, Hercules.
Thank you, Helios, god of the sun. I am truly obliged to you.
What's the matter, Odris?
You killed the guardian of my action and my dark! I'll make you pay! You won't get away with this! Just wait till I get my hands on you! Your fate is sealed! I'm going down!
Thank you again, Helios, god of the sun. With your magnificent boat, I could sail across the tumultuous waters of the great ocean and put an end to my labors.
Hercules traveled through Spain, through Gaul, until he arrived in Illyria and Thrace. Marching on, ignoring the elements, his fatigue, and the passage of time. Nothing could stop him. He had to deliver the famous scarlet-coated oxen to Eurystheus at all costs, and complete his labors as quickly as possible.
Correct me if I'm wrong, but he has only one labor left at this point, doesn't he?
No, you are wrong, I'm afraid. Eurystheus didn't count two of his tasks, cleaning out King Aegeus' stables and killing the Hydra.
So he has another 3 tasks left to do.
Exactly, the most thrilling and adventurous ones.
Well, get on with it. Tell us about them.
No, they're too long. That would take all night. Now it's time for all of us to go to bed. I'll tell you tomorrow. Good night. My ancestor's cousin, King Eurystheus, had a problem. His spoiled daughter, Admeta. She had heard about a girdle worn by Hippolyte, queen of the Amazons, and she longed to have it for herself. Eurystheus had no intention of satisfying his daughter's crazy desire, but he went along with her anyway, thinking it might give him the opportunity to get rid of Hercules once and for all.
Of course, I'm sorry my daughter won't have the girdle she wants so much. But that's only an excuse anyway. As long as the Amazons reduce Hercules to a pulp, I shall be delighted. I'll just have to find some other trinket to comfort Admeta's capricious whim.
And so Hercules set off, accompanied by Perseus, Peleus and Telamon to win possession of the Amazon Queen's girdle. After a long, hard voyage fraught with danger, Hercules sighted the shores of the Amazon territory. The Amazons were a tribe of warrior women living on the shores of the Black Sea. They killed without pity all the men who dared to enter their domain, and Queen Hippolyte was protected by women bodyguards armed to the teeth.
The rumors that have been reaching us are true. That's Hercules' ship down there. We must report back to Queen Hippolyte immediately.
Hey, Antiope, wait for us!
We have terrible news, Queen Hippolyte. We've sighted the ship carrying Hercules, Theseus, Peleus, and Telamon. What shall we do?
Welcome them with honor and bring them to me. They are great heroes and deserve our respect. They will be our guests.
If those are your orders, Your Majesty, we shall obey you.
That's strange. I don't see anyone. What do you think, Theseus? Is it possible our arrival's been unobserved?
No, that's very unlikely. But you're right. Why are there no warrior women waiting on the shore?
Welcome! We come in the name of Queen Hippolyte to escort you to the royal palace.
We're off to a good start.
Brat, that foolish Hippolyte isn't going to kill Hercules. She's going to entertain him. Well, I'd better do something without delay, or Hercules will successfully complete this task too. That is interesting. You've undertaken this long and arduous voyage to gain possession of my girdle. Don't worry. Since it's obviously so important to you, Hercules, it'll be my pleasure to give it to you as a present.
The Queen's beautiful, isn't she? Looks like Hercules will be able to have anything he wants. If you ask me, she's doomed. She's only had eyes for him since the moment they met.
I knew it. My plan is going astray. I must put an end to this at once. Hippolyte is completely infatuated with Hercules and will make everything easy for him if I don't act now. I am Queen of the Gods. Nothing can stop me defeating my enemies. I'll make myself invisible and sow discord among them.
Come on! Come on, Antiope! Yes! You can do it! Come on! Go, go! Come on! Yeah! Come on!
She seems to be an intelligent girl, and it looks like the others have a lot of respect for her. I will enter her body and see what I can do to make trouble.
trouble brewing. Theseus hasn't taken his eyes off Queen Hippolyte. But she won't even look at him. She only has eyes for Hercules.
I beg you, please consider my girdle yours, my guest and hero. Now that's settled, I hope you will enjoy our hospitality for a few more days.
Perhaps I'm being overly suspicious, but the arrival of Hercules and his men could be a threat to us. Do you really think these famous invincible heroes have undertaken such a long and arduous voyage just to get a girdle? Our valiant Queen Hippolyte has always prevented men setting foot in our territory, but now she welcomes this group with great benevolence and full honors. I am convinced these men have come here to take possession of our lands, and that Hippolyte's blind infatuation for Hercules will make their task easier. It's up to us. Do we want to find ourselves at the mercy of a man who will take our freedom away? We use men. We will never be ruled by them. We have chosen to live without them. We must rebel to protect that choice. There's no time to lose. We must act now. We must drive these men into the sea and bring our queen back to her senses.
Yay! Antiope is right. Death to all foreigners. Death to all men. Yes, we must drive the men away from our land.
What's happening out here? What's all that shouting?
A curse on you! You set a trap for us!
No, that's not true. You're wrong. I'm as surprised as you are.
What is this madness? Put down your weapons and leave the hall. That's an order from your queen.
You're a traitor. You deserve to die.
Hercules! May the gods curse you, Hercules! This time I'll destroy you!
Hera's presence in Antiope's body increased the girl's fighting ability and made her as strong as a man. Astonished, Hercules found himself on the defensive, and perhaps he would have been defeated if fate had not intervened on his side.
Once again, I've been foiled, but sooner or later I'll get rid of Hercules. What are we doing? Why are we fighting? What happened?
What on earth made us all fight the Queen's guests?
You lost, Hippolyte. I want that girdle, now!
You are very strong, Hercules. I want to see how good you are with the bow. Compete against me, and if you win, I will give you the girdle.
Very well, I accept.
That line of trees over there will be the site of our competition. Our arrows must pass through the rings my warriors will throw in the air. After every turn, smaller rings will be used, and we'll continue until one of us makes a mistake.
Hippolyte took off her girdle and gave it to Hercules as the heroes prepared to set sail for home. Theseus was happy at last because the queen finally showed some interest in him, and he promised to come back on another visit. boat put out to sea, taking advantage of the favorable wind. As soon as Hercules returned to Argos, he was given another mission by Eurystheus. This time it was a task that seemed too difficult, even for him.
Minerva, Mercury, come here, quickly.
What's the matter? Why did we have to get here in such a hurry?
You must go down to Earth and help Hercules. Eurystheus has ordered him to go to Hades and steal Cerberus, the three-headed dog, who guards the gates of my brother Pluto's domain.
No mortal can enter the kingdom of the dead and return alive.
That is exactly why he will need your help and guidance.
Welcome. Have you brought me a message from my divine father?
Yes, Hercules. Your father, Supreme Zeus, has sent us to Earth with orders to help you complete your task successfully.
No mortal has ever returned from the kingdom of the dead, Hercules.
And so Minerva, Mercury, and Hercules set out on the road to Hades. When they reached the entrance to the kingdom of the dead, Mercury took the lead because it was usually his task to accompany dead mortals to the underworld. And it was Mercury who persuaded the mournful ferryman on the river Styx to carry Hercules to the other side. They met nobody along the way. Because the dead knew Hercules was visiting their kingdom, they were afraid of him and stayed out of sight.
How dare you lead a mortal into my kingdom? Who authorized you to offend me in this way?
Your brother, Supreme Zeus, ordered us to escort his son into your presence. Hercules has a question that only you can answer.
I don't think it's necessary for me to remind you that Zeus has no power down here in Hades. When we shared out our father's kingdom, I received Hades. I am the only one who has any power down here. Why should I care if a mortal has a request to make?
In that case, perhaps this challenge will interest you. Why don't you fight me without your divine powers? If I win, you will allow me to explain the nature of my request.
Are you sure you want to fight me? All right, I can't remember when I last had any fun. We will fight, and if you win, I will listen to what you have to say.
Mercury and I will prevent him using his divine powers. But be careful. Don't expect to beat him hands down.
I'm ready when you are. Not as easy as you expected, eh?
I believe Hercules is won, Pluto. Now you must keep your word and listen to his request.
I always keep my word. All right, then. What is this request of yours, Hercules?
My cousin Eurystheus, in league with the Oracle of Delphi, has condemned me to serve him for 10 years. He has ordered me to bring him Cerberus, the dog that stands guard over your kingdom.
You expect me to give you the faithful Cerberus?
Well, it's important that I return to Eurystheus with the dog. After that, I can send him back to you.
Very well, you may have Cerberus, but only if you fight him too and beat him with your bare hands.
Pluto's condition caught my poor ancestor by surprise. Cerberus was summoned, and there in the big cave, the fearsome three-headed dog and Hercules joined in mortal combat.
That's
fight
enough
now.
Hercules. Very well. I will allow you to take Cerberus away.
Thank you, Pluto. I hope that I will soon be able to send him back to you.
And so, Hercules returned to Eurystheus' palace with the ferocious three-headed Cerberus, but his cousin refused to see him. At last, one of the king's servants came to my ancestor and informed him that his last task was to bring back 3 golden apples from the garden of the Hesperides. The problem with this task was that nobody knew exactly where the Hesperides garden was located. The Hesperides were the daughters of Atlas, and their job was to guard the garden.
The only person who might know the way is Nereus, the old king of the sea.
Nereus had the ability to change appearance when and how he pleased, and Hercules found it difficult to pin him down and make him talk. Nereus told Hercules to go to the borders of the world, where Atlas, the giant, held up the heavens and ask him to pick the golden apples.
Hey, you down there, who are you and what do you want?
I am Hercules, and I'm trying to find the garden of the Hesperides.
What do you want in the garden?
I have been sent here on a mission by my cousin King Eurystheus. By order of the gods, I have been in his service 10 years, and I have one more task to do for him. I must bring him 3 golden apples.
Don't delude yourself. You will never succeed in such an enterprise. A dragon with 100 heads guards the garden with my daughters. I am the only one who can pick the apples, but as you can see, I am doing something else.
What if I were to stay here and hold up the heavens in your place while you went into the garden for me, and you picked them?
You really think you could do that? After thousands of years, my limbs could do with a good stretch.
Hercules didn't wait to be asked twice. He climbed up the mountain to take Atlas's place. The task he had given himself would never be equaled by anyone, neither a mortal nor a god. He was actually holding up the heavens. Atlas walked happily away, covering many leagues with each step before sinking slowly into the sea. As time passed, Hercules feared that he had overestimated his own strength and that the giant would never come back. You can imagine his relief when he saw Atlas appear out of the sea, holding 3 precious golden apples.
You seem to be doing a pretty good job there. I bet you could keep it up for thousands of years.
It only looks that way. Oh, great. I see you've managed to get the apples. Now, if you put them down on the ground, I'll hand over the heavens and be on my way again.
Oh, sorry to disappoint you. I've been holding up that enormous weight for so long. It's only fair somebody else takes over for a while.
For a while? No, that's out of the question. I have a task to complete.
Oh, don't worry about delivering the apples. I'll take them to your cousin. Does that make you feel better?
No, it doesn't make me feel at all better, but I can see I have no choice.
Hercules realized Atlas meant him no harm. He was just trying to take advantage of the situation.
Very well, you go off and do what you have to do. I'll stay here thinking of the fame and glory I'll enjoy when people find out I'm supporting the heavens. Sorry to bother you, but I was wondering if you could do me one last favor before you leave.
Of course. What do you want?
Could you take the heavens again, just for one moment, while I arrange my lion skin better and get more comfortable? There are 2 or 3 stars sticking in my back.
I'll put the apples down first.
When Atlas settled the heavens on his shoulders again, Hercules dashed away. He picked up the golden apples and took to the road again. Now he had completed his last labor. He would finally be able to get away from his treacherous cousin. Now you know how Hercules carried out his 12 labors. That's enough for now. It's time we were all in bed. Good night, friends.